So there's no theme music, no introduction music. There's no victory lap this morning. There's no victory Monday. Um, there's no, yes, we are the kings. We are the toast of New York City. There's no Giant fans, suck it, we beat you. Um, there's also no apologies for winning a game that both teams could have easily lost and both teams tried to lose. I mean, that's what it looked like. Um, and we're going to get all into that. So, again, there's no excuses, but there's no apologies either. I'm going to take the win. So, good Monday morning, New York Jet fans and NFL fans. It is 11:55 a.m., October 30th, 2023, and we are the takeoff. And I'm scratching my head because I'm actually watching Good Morning Football, and they have head scratches up and they're doing the Jet game. You know, all week, the hype of this game, the last 2 weeks, let's be honest, from the Giants almost beating the Bills to the Jets beating the Eagles on that same Sunday. You know, Giants had the late game, the 8 o'clock, 8:20 game. The Jets had the 4:15 or 4:25 game. The Jets on the bye. The Giants beating Washington to kind of get their second win to yesterday. And the hype, the tension between fans and what have you. Radio hosts. I mean, Friday, one of the radio shows that I listen to, and I haven't listened to in a while because they're really getting on my nerves, actually have Carl Banks on as a guest speaker. I think they have him on every Friday. And Carl Banks is a great ex-Jet linebacker. He was part of the Jet organization when Parcells came over. I believe he was part of the Jet organization as part of player personnel and player development. And now he's a color analyst for the radio for the Giants. And the broadcasters, the radio sportscasters, or, you know, the one who do the sports talk, were killing Thibodeau, the Giants' first-round pick. And just you know, saying that he doesn't, you know, he doesn't look right and he's not for this team, and to the point where Carl Banks and them started having words, and the radio host cut the interview. Like, all right, Carl, thanks for calling in, and they basically gave this to the producer. The producer cut the call. So that's what it came down to on Friday. Well, Thibodeau must have gotten that section of tape from that call because he was a beast yesterday. He had multiple pressures on Zach Wilson. I think he had 2 or 3 sacks, a forced fumble. He was a force to be reckoned with, but he did have a play in the game that may have cost the Giants the game, and I'll get into that. And I'm not going to go through every sequence of events, but I'm going to go through the quick highlights. In this game, first of all, 4 major injuries. The Jets might have lost both of their centers for the season. Tyrod Taylor broke his ribs. He may be done. And there was an earlier injury. I can't remember who. The Jets and Giants have to change this turf. Now, okay, maybe Tyrod's injury to his ribs are not turf related. It actually came on a fluke play where the ball slipped out of his hands under pressure, and he actually caught his own pass or fumble. And then as he got tackled, he landed on his arm and on the ball. I thought he actually broke his wrist. It was his ribs. And he missed the rest of the game. That was huge. Okay? Because he had to be replaced by Tommy DeVito. And the memes and the jokes going around social media and everything yesterday, and even in my house, was Danny DeVito. But the turf has to be changed out. There are too many severe season-ending injuries that are happening. And, you know, right now the most famous one is Aaron Rodgers, but 2 centers went down, an Achilles injury on one of them. It has to be changed out. What the teams have to figure out is what is more important. Do you want to have 40 events in a stadium, or do you want to have the 20 events with just the football teams playing? You know, is your football team worth more than the other events and concessions or whatever you're getting? I don't know how that works, but that's what I have to figure out, because the Jets lost their star, which was supposed to be the guy who brings them to the promised land, 4 plays into his offensive career with the Jets on that turf because his foot got stuck on that turf. So that has to be looked at. I remember, and this is the way ownership can change things in a heartbeat. But when you're sharing a stadium, both teams have to agree, you know, and I have no problem with them sharing a stadium. I've never have, with this stadium. But, Giant Stadium, the name, but whatever. Back in 2000, I guess 2004, oh, no, I'm sorry, 2006, Eric Mangini, Chad Pennington, Dwayne Robinson, they all, Kotri, all go up to New England to Gillette Stadium to play the Patriots in a cold, nasty November game. The field was a slop fest, and Tom Brady cannot move. And Tom Brady, last play of the game, was sacked. And the next day, Robert Kraft, the owner, ordered turf to be put down on that field because the grass just wasn't cutting it. The grass was terrible. So you could have this changed, but that's something for another discussion and another debate. Yesterday, they said that, Giants lost last week. They would be selling tickets and all that. My buddy George went with his brother. Like I said, we grew up with, we're family, definitely family. His niece and my buddy George's son, my nephew Nino, to Nino's second football game. Nino went last year to the Buffalo game. Nino went yesterday, so Nino's 2-0 going to the game. So, George, listening to this, you know the trend. We got to get Nino to go to most of the games, not all the games this year. But I'm glad he went. And I asked at the end, did you stay for the end? And he says, we stayed. So I'm glad they got to see, and Nino got to see the excitement of how that game ended. And my apologies, Nino, for that and the family making you a Jet fan. It will scar you for the rest of your life. But I'm glad you're enjoying the games you're going to. That being said, when I watch the games at home, I like to keep it quiet. Maybe a friend, most of the time it's me, my girls, my wife, used to be my pop, and we watch the game, and, we watch the game, we go on Twitter, whatever it is. So we haven't seen some close cousins in a while, and we're trying to figure out weekends, and you have only so many Sundays before the holidays kick in, and, kids doing things and all that. So we decided, all right, my daughter put it together, October 29th, Jets are away, let's have them over. So we invited my cousins over, and I grew up with them, and they're like my siblings as well. So they came over. So the 4 of them came over, 2 Jet fans, 2 Giant fans. But I will say this. It was nice to sit down with a Giant fan or a team of an opposing team and have a realistic, a non-obnoxious conversation. We both feel each other's pain. We both know that the teams are not as good as they were supposed to be this year, and we both accept it. So it wasn't gloating when they had the lead. It wasn't gloating when they missed, the field goals. It was just, who's going to survive this? And that was it. So the Jets lose 2 players. The Giants lose 2 players. DeVito comes in, and now it's going to be the Saquon Barkley show. So the Giants fed the rock to Saquon Barkley over and over and over again. He had 128 yards. I'm not sure if it's all purpose. I don't think he caught any passes, honestly, because DeVito really didn't make any pass attempts. But that was the theme for the Giants. The Jets did get to the run at one point or another. They did make stops. They did make sacks. But they still found themselves down 10-7. Zach played like he played in the Patriot game last year in the rain, or I should say New England, where it was skipping the ball and missing reads and whatnot for 59 minutes and 30 seconds. He did have some drops that he placed in guys' hands, but he did miss some reads. He did skip the ball. He did take sacks. He did have a strip sack and a fumble against him. So he did not play good at all. His on-the-field presence and knowledge and awareness of time and location is still not there. And it almost came back to bite them. And it would have been the second time it came back to bite them this year. The first time it happened against Denver, it didn't cost them the game because they wound up winning that game late in the game. But this could have cost them the game. So I'm going to fast forward. It is 10-7 Giants. Okay, Giants scored a touchdown on a great bootleg by DeVito that threw off the Jet defense. That was set up by penalties beyond penalties beyond penalties by the Jets, over 100 yards in penalties, to, Gano missing a field goal. So it's 10-7. Okay, the Jets have the ball. They got to get the field goal range. You got to tie it. And on 4th and long, okay, the Jets have to go for it. It's late, and Zach takes a sack. And at that point, first of all, if you're going to get sacked, you turn the ball over on downs. Throw the ball. Throw it into coverage. If it's picked off, because usually defenders won't knock it down. They don't realize it. They're going to pick it off. It's like a punt. But no, they turned the ball over there. And now the Giants really just have to run out the clock. Okay? And the story of the game was field position because Morstead, the punter for the Jets, was just booming them and laying them back deep, where the punter for the Giants really wasn't getting many deep. And punting was the theme. So my cousin Richie wanted to know what the record for punts in a game was. He wasn't alone because the actual CBS broadcast brought it up in 2003. I thought they said there was 33 punts. Well, yesterday there was 24. 13 by the Jets, 11 by the Giants. Terrible. Okay? So you figure, all right, the Jets have used their timeouts. The Giants need a first down or to put points on the board, and this game is iced. So, listen, with DeVito under center, you're not going to take a chance of any type of rollout, maybe him fumbling. You're going to feed the ball to Saquon. Even if he gains a yard, you do that 3 times, bring the clock down to 4th down, and then you have a choice of punting, kicking a field goal, going for it, depending on where you are and whatnot. It comes down to 4th and 1. Okay? A little more than 30 seconds or so. And they decide they're going to kick a field goal, a 35-yard field goal. Now, if you have Tyrod Taylor back there or Daniel Jones, maybe you go for it because you could do anything. You could pass the ball. You could run the ball. You could run a bootleg. Okay? With DeVito, you're not going to throw the ball because not only are you maybe not going to make the completion, you may turn it over. It may go the other way. Okay? So what do? It's either going to be a Saquon handoff or go for a field goal. Now, remember, Saquon had over 120 yards, 125, 128 yards running. Gano is 1 for 2 on field goals, but it's a 35-yarder. Even in the rain and a sloppy condition, a field goal kicker should hit this 99% of the time. So they tried out the field goal team. The other thing is field position. If he makes the field goal, then Giants have to kick off. The Jets have to go to length of the field and score a touchdown. If they go for it and they miss it, the Jets get the ball on the 17-yard line, have to go down the field and get the field goal range. Okay? If he makes it, then they just run out the clock, if he makes the first down. But they bring out the field goal, and give it to McDonald, the offensive lineman or the linebacker. He went over the top and disrupted the kicker, and Gano hooked it. And now the Jets have life with 24 seconds left. I also want to point out that earlier in the game, on a 4th down, the Jets were in safe position, safe formation punting, and the nose tackle went off sides and gave them a whole set of downs. So, this is just the way this game went yesterday. And yes, Zach had a brutal game, but this team, on all facets, was not good yesterday. And the defense, as good as they played, had a lot of penalties. Okay? And you can see my expression has not changed because this win was not impressive. It was a win that was expected, and we had to sweat out. So Zach gets the ball, and um, has a, I believe he has I'm sorry, he throws a pass, he hits Wilson, and they gain a chunk of yardage, and now the clock is running. Next play, he gets a free play. Okay, Thibodeau, who played the game of his career, that disrupted this game and probably would have won this game in his own, by himself, is offsides. Free play by Zach Wilson. Gets under pressure, rolls out. Now the clock is running, no timeouts. He throws, and you look at me, he throws across his body, across the green, on the run, clock running, middle of the field. Okay, hits Lazard. Now, as bad as it is that Zach made that pass, instead of picking up the yardage, getting into field goal range, because he was close to field goal range, getting out of bounds, Lazard catches it and now decides he's going to run with it. Now, if you're at the 5, the 4, maybe, but you're in field goal range. You have two things to do: either score a touchdown or go down and call, and spike the ball. So he wastes like 2 or 3 seconds. Clock is running 9, 8. Actually, the announcers on TV are counting down. They line up, they spike the ball. Now, this morning, I don't know how true this is because I don't remember seeing this, and I'm trying to get footage. Whenever a play is over, the ball is set by the referee or the line judge. I don't know who sets it. So the ball is given to the official. He places it down, he sets it, and then you can play it. Lazard got up, handed the ball to the center, and supposedly snapped the ball there. I have to look back and see if the ball was set. I do not know. But they spiked the ball at 1 second left. Zuerlein comes in, Greg DeLeg, and he hits it, and we go to overtime. Okay. Giants win the toss in overtime, and all I'm thinking is, if we can contain Barkley, because they're not going to have DeVito thrown in overtime, maybe we get good field position and get a nice return. Oh, Gibson was the other injury for the Jets, okay? Because I'm thinking punt. 3 plays, 1 pass to the flat, a false start, 3rd and 21, whatever, and the Giants pick up probably, I think, 6 yards. So now they're punting from deep in their territory. Okay? The Jets field the punt, and let's get in the field goal range. And the Jets they're probably about 8 yards short of field goal range, 6 yards short of field goal range. And this is where I think the play call was good. They finally had some balls. Zach throws the ball down the field, and the defender mugs the wide receiver on like the 10-yard line. Pass interference, PI. Blatant. Never turned around, draped all over him, falls on top of him. And now Jets are in field goal range. Greg DeLeg, he's going to come in, go right through the uprights. Well, he hooked it a little bit, but it went through. And the Jets come away with a win. This game, okay, was probably one of the most boring games I ever sat through. What made it interesting, or what made it, I don't want to even say possible to sit through, was the Jets would need to get over 500. They have to get to 4-3. They haven't really won after a bye. They needed this win. This is a win they were expected to make, and with a third-string quarterback that the team held to -6 yards or -9 yards collectively between him and Tyrod Taylor, they may lose this game. Okay, 100 yards in penalties. Some of them phantom penalties, some of them not. And the Jets wound up winning. They go to 4-3. I turned to my cousin. I said, I'm not even going to gloat. I know I looked over at my daughter Alyssa, and she kind of gave this. We took the win, but there was no jumping up and down. There was no, I didn't even listen to post game. The one thing I did read was, and this is amazing, and I commend him. When they told Zach, all right, 24 seconds, let's go. He's like, all right, let's go get it tied up. Let's do this. So he has the confidence there, but the kid needs to learn awareness on the field. He needs to know time. He needs to know location. He needs to know timeouts, because that kid came back. and kill them. If Tyrod Taylor's playing this game, the full game, I don't think it ends the same way. The Giants have more options of what they play call. Also, the rain. This brings me back to week 3 against the Patriots. Same weather, maybe not as windy, and Zach looks terrible in the rain. Is his hands wet? He can't control the ball. Like, I don't get it. Do they have 2 playbooks? Do they have a wet playbook and a dry playbook? Like, I don't get it. But I'm not going to apologize, because I have sat there in that stadium with my father in the 90s with Bruce Coslett, with Pete Carroll, with what's his name, Kotite, and watched the Jets lose 9-3, 6-3, 9-6, 10-6 to the Colts in the rain. It never failed. Every time we played the Colts, it rained. All right, so nobody apologized to me. It went in as a loss. It went on the right side of the column as a loss. This went into the left. It's a win. 4-3. If I'm the Jets team, I'm not having Victory Monday today. I'm in there. I'm lifting. I'm getting conditioned. I'm getting treatments, and I'm figuring out what to do Monday night at home versus the Chargers. Okay, because the Chargers lit it up last night at one point. I just, I was outside and my neighbor came over to me. I'm wearing my Jet shirt, and he said, Jets didn't win that game. The Giants lost. I said, yep, you're right. And it would have been the other way around too. The Giants didn't win that game. The Jets lost. What makes it hard to defend is they lost. They won the game with a third-string quarterback, and they had negative yards passing. But you could also say, well, the Jets defense played up to par. Yes. But without Breece Hall breaking a 50-yard touchdown, that game could be 0-0. Without stupid penalties, the Giants aren't in the red zone inside the 5, and is not a bootleg by DeVito. That game could have ended in a tie in overtime and regulation. But you know what? The Jets found a way to win it, and they are 4-3. They're over 500. They won out of the bye. And now my eyes are on not only Monday night, the game, but the weather. Because what is this kid going to do if it's raining? And that has always been, my outlook. The joke is the draft bust. And if you go back to the 83 draft and all those quarterbacks, the Jets got Kenny O'Brien and overshot Dan Marino, I think, for 2 reasons. I think one reason was Dan Marino tested positive for marijuana or something. And I'm not spreading rumors. I think that's what it was. And number 2, the Jets knew that they were moving to the Meadowlands the following year, and they thought Kenny O'Brien could handle the winds better at the Meadowlands. So, yes, elements do matter when it comes to playing football. Jacksonville's a warm weather city, but they still play 8 games away, 8 games home. So I don't know, but it does matter, I think, to the quarterback, to the running back, the elements. The slipping and the sliding, that turf, I cannot reiterate enough. But you know what? The Jets won. I will take it. It's 3 wins in a row. No interception. Zach did fumble. And here are his stats from yesterday. And again, not anything great. I'm just bringing it up here. So Zach was 17 of 36, 240 yards, 6.7 yards an attempt, 1 touchdown, a rating of 78.5. He did have a lost fumble. He did rush for 25 yards as well. Tyrod Taylor, before he got hurt, was 4 of 7 for 8 yards. DeVito was 2 of 7 for negative 1 yards. For the life of me, cannot defend this. Saquon was 36 attempts on 120 for 128 yards. He averaged 3.6 yards a carry. His long went for 34. Again, I won't apologize, but I won't defend this either. Take the win, move on. But this team has a long way to go. Also, prior to the game, a lot of footage of Aaron Rodgers actually throwing the ball and actually backpedaling Now, he wasn't planting his foot like he would if he was launching the ball, but again, another positive. Um, there is so much speculation. You know, December he's going to be back. It'll be, the last game at home. Listen, don't rush him back. I want him fresh for next year, unless he's 100% or 90% this year. I don't want him back. He's at 75% with his Achilles because we can't afford that injury again. We, on week 1, said we're going to live and die with Zach, and we will. I'm hoping Zach reverts back to the Zach of the Kansas City, Philadelphia, Denver game, the games that they won. But there's a lot of hope that's seen on his team. And now Joe Douglas does have his work cut out for him because he's down 2 centers. They got to get somebody. There was also rumors. Davante Adams was on the Pat McAfee show. And Pat McAfee and Aaron. Aaron's a weekly guest on Tuesdays. And Davante Adams is talking about his relationship with Aaron Rodgers. So there is a rumor there that the Jets may trade for Davante Adams. The Jets need to keep whoever's under center, and it's going to be Zach Wilson. They're not changing him under center and have him protected. Okay, the offensive line is like Swiss cheese. Also, so the center McGovern dislocated his kneecap. The other center, I can't think of his last name. It has a big last name. He blew out his Achilles. Gibson was injured earlier. I'm trying to get a report on him. Tyrod Taylor, broken ribs, and Kirk Cousins. So the rumor with Kirk Cousins coming to the Jets, they're going to trade for him. He blew out his Achilles tendon yesterday. And Kurt seems like a good guy. And I never root for injuries or don't care about somebody gets hurt. I do care. You don't want to see anybody get injured. So listen, I'm not saying go out there and pop the champagne corks and go taunt the Giant fan, but to the Cowboy fans, the Philly fans, and the Cowboy fans, I'm sorry, and the Washington fans, you're welcome. 27 punts was the record in 1998, 25 punts in 1987. The Giants part of that game with Philly. 2023, 24 punts, Giants and Jets. That's a la Monday Morning Quarterback or Good Morning Football on the NFL Network. But anyway, we are to take off. Listen, did you go to the game yesterday? I know my friend Selena went. She got tickets on StubHub. My buddy George and my nephew Nino and Anthony and Victoria went. My Coppola family, they went. They enjoyed it. I know a lot of other people attended. Joe Benigno from WFAN actually was doing a dance on the way out, and I'd love to hear his take today. But take the win with 4-3. We have 10 games left, and I had us at 4-3 with this game. So we're right on the schedule. I'm not going to say right now this win is propelling us, but this loss would have been demoralizing. I think this win does a lot more for us than a loss did, because at least you could fix these problems or attempt to fix these problems without having your tail between your legs, without feeling sorry that you lost. We ought to take off. Listen, check us out on Twitter at the Jets Takeoff is our Twitter handle. On YouTube, the Takeoff is our YouTube account. The Jets Takeoff is a YouTube channel. Subscribe, share it. We'd love to get subscriptions in. We'd love to get viewers in. It's not for money. It's not to, we just want to share this fandom with other fans of the team. You can follow us on TikTok at the Jets Takeoff, even on Instagram at the Jets Takeoff. Follow us. Send us your pictures. Send us your videos. We were there yesterday. Selena sent me a video, and it was them attempting to kick the field goal in overtime, and then the Giants called timeout, and that was it. And I was like, well, where's the other kick? And she's like, I was too busy screaming for them to go. She goes, I forgot to take the video. But anyway, if you haven't, send it over. Have a great rest of your week. Tonight is the Lions and the Raiders, I believe. So we will check that out. And then we get into next week, and next week we have Sunday games, morning games, Miami, Kansas City, which is going to be huge. Kansas City lost today to Denver, but we'll get into that during the week. Anything that happens trade deadline-wise, we will tweet out. I will do a video as quickly as I could. And have a great rest of your week. Stay safe, stay healthy. Have a blessed week. Have a blessed week. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.